So, once again, it's a new shoe day. These are my Pegasus 37 Nike by Tim, would you believe? You even get a nice little box showing Nike by Tim. Just been for my first run in these, 10 miles, just under 8-minute miling. Quite a slow pace today, maybe partly due to the shoes, which I'll go into later, and partly because I did a long run yesterday. But I just want to give you my first thoughts on them. So first of all, the passes. Well, you can on the Nike website, you can choose your own colorway. So I went for a colorway that's very resemblant to my club colors, red with a black vest, and also you get some personalization. I was able to put my date of birth there, 22/11/66, on the back of both kiddies tabs, and also you can put your own name on there, so I did that on both of them as well. And you only got to pay about £15 more on the Nike website to get that, and also it's one way of actually getting the shoes. And I also was able to select the narrow fitting in these ones. I think they do also the medium one, standard one, and a wide fitting. And I have very narrow shoes, so I'm always on the lookout for shoes which either they come up narrow or literally are narrow. So that's probably the plus points. The minus points is, well, they're so heavy. This just React foam, it just seems to be, not quite sure what Nike are up to with the React foam. And the Zoom Fly 3 I had, which was a very similar weight, these ones come up at 360 grams. And if you compare that to the next percent at 250 grams, that's a huge amount of extra material to carry around with you on your runs. And also the React seems to be a very firm foam. So although it felt like it was quite nicely cushioned, it's nothing like the sort of the squidgy feeling you get from the Asics Nova Blast or the ZoomX in the Turbo 2. And one other big failing I found is that the toe box was really low to the ground. So I found putting them on my feet, although the length wasn't too bad, it was almost felt like I was crushing my big toe when I first got into it. So if you're ever in doubt about what size you are, if you're a bit like Ed Budd, who's between 11 and 11.5, I'd certainly suggest you look at the larger size in these, if only to get yourself a bit more room in the toe box. Having said that, they didn't actually feel like they were as long as some of the other Nikes I've had in a UK 13. They fitted me fine. I think a 14 would have been overkill, but certainly if I had a 12, I think I would have been right up against the box here. So I definitely made the right choice. Although I've got the narrow fitting feet, I still had to pull in the laces quite a lot, and I found the lockdown wasn't too bad across here, but I had to stop after a few miles and tie them up because they come a bit loose. It feels a bit more roomy in the toe box, but you're sort of negated by this feeling that your big toe's about to crush. And I'm hoping after a few runs that will die away, but it's something to be aware of. The tongue itself is quite nice. It's all an integrated sort of gusseted tongue, so it's very shoe to get on and off, I found. In fact, if anything, I felt it was a bit too easy to get on and off because I felt like I had a bit of heel slippage. I haven't done the double knot yet, but I think I might have to try that because there's a huge amount of extra laces here because of my narrow feet. And just one way, sometimes I do the double knot just to get rid of some slack laces rather than cutting them like I used to. But other than that, these eyelets here do provide a good way of getting a nice lockdown across there. So I quite like that. But generally my feeling is that they're just a very heavy shoe. So what would you actually use them for? Well, I think, to be honest, it would be nothing more than sort of easy days, recovery days. But even then, on recovery days, sometimes you feel like you need a shoe to give you a bit of a perk up, and these just feel like you'll be carting around a lot of extra weight. I mean, 360 grams, that's 20 grams more than the Nova Blast and the 1080 V10 in my size. And that's 110 grams more than the next percent, 80 grams more than the Turbo 2, which also obviously has the Pegasus line. So if you're thinking the Pegasus 37 is going to be some sort of alternative to the Turbo 2, which is rumoured to be going away, you'll be very disappointed. It's a completely different shoe, catering for a very different type of run, I think. I mean, obviously you could, as a good runner, get up to speed in these, and you could even race them if you wanted to. But I was thinking if you did race in these, I'd probably be thankful because I might have a chance of beating you if you did. So yeah, not entirely the best first run I've ever had in a shoe, but I wanted to give you quick thoughts on it. Hopefully I'll try a few more runs in it, see whether this toe box especially loosens out a bit, see whether it gives a bit more. It's a very rigid shoe as well, so I hadn't perhaps been used to sort of more softer shoes of late. Perhaps this is a bit of a throwback to older days. It wasn't bad, but I just feel that Nike could do better with these type of shoes, really. I think the other players are pulling their fingers out and got some good offerings to choose from. Certainly yesterday's run in the TC, that 17 miles, somewhat faster, was felt a lot easier than it did in these tonight, somewhat slower. Okay, well, I hope you found that interesting, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Okay, bye.